What's going on, champs? Hope you guys are doing well. So this is episode 2. Part 1 we did early on. I had to leave it quite quickly, so we're going to continue with part 2. And this is like 24.5 we'll call it, and the last one's 24, episode 24. So what we'll do, so actually what we've done so far, we've done the bullish scenario in terms of BTC. We're going to start looking at the bearish scenario on BTC and look at the Ethereum, the bullish and bearish, and same with Ethereum BTC. Just to see where we are right now, X, Y, and Z, and how we're going to play this and then going forward, okay? So let's just get cracking and let's just start off this motherfucker right here, okay? So, I mean, nothing's really changed since I last did the stream not too long ago. It's the same shit, really, alright? You can see that, look, well, below the mid-range, and we're finding resistance in this area here. As you would recall, what we got here, just a quick recap, is this blue box, well, blue lines of here, that's Monday's high, Monday's low. The orange what we got here is actually 2 weeks ago worth of ranges, right? So that's like 2 weeks 2 weeks range low, 2 weeks range high, and you can see we've just been chopping this area. So range low and range high over here. You can see we've just been choppy here. It's a deviation here. We've tapped a weekly low. Of course, we're gonna have to tap it and find a reaction. It's gonna happen. Why? It's a fucking weekly low. I mean, you can see another thing as well is this as well. So if I highlight this shit over here, right? So you see this over here to this there. That's a range bound environment, isn't it? Right? So now we're gonna look at it this way. So remember the saying that, what was the saying? Fuck knows. No, some water. Yeah, the saying was this: the principle of ranges, right, is literally consolidation, breakout. This is the retest, and look for expansion. But the question is this the expansion to go up higher? Or is this just a deviation? Or is this just, oops, Control Y. Yeah, or this just a deviation of this range over here? So we all know if it's a deviation, we step back into it, which basically means we need to lose the last 2 weeks weekly low. Then we start playing the shorts back down, and at the same time we got the Monday's range to play off as well at the same time. Then we can say play back down to 25%, then weekly low, weekly open, and see if we can get to we can squeeze to this area here, and then blah blah blah. Right, we'll play level to level, and this is how it goes. Okay, so we know what we're looking at, and we just need to start looking at what's going to happen, right? So we have an idea that we potentially, if we're going to play like range to range, right? I mean, Ethereum did a stop run, and BTC hasn't, right? So like BTC just came just below the high itself, and it just went down. Okay, so if I were to look at like some sort of SR, right? So I use this high here. Let's, for example, let's put this there. Put this fucking black. All right. So what's so important there? It's the initial high. So you see this area here that price was consolidating here off the low, shot up, and you went fucking. Let's just start doing some rejection off there. So find resistance, comes up there, deviation, comes back down, deviation, resistance, shoots up. The moment we take out this high, it's a bullish. I think it's still a bullish market structure, right? On the lower time frame we're talking about, right? So if I were to say, all right then, if this is the, I mean, for me to be bullish, right? I like to say this high up was to be taken out there. Now it's just that was the low. This was the low, and now we made I think a higher high. All right, so we'll see what happens. But this is the bearish scenario. The bullish one was already talked about in the last stream. If you missed it, just go back on the last one, episode 24, and you'll see the whole thing. All right, cool. Now we'll start looking at this now. So we've got this SR. So that's a choppy area here, right? Yeah, this area here is all chopped. It's just nastiness, and at the same time we're Monday's mid-range. Okay, let it do its thing. Whatever he wants to do. If he wants to come in here, right, that's one pullback. You could do a deeper pullback to come back into the monthly open. The moment we get back below the mid-range, you see this low here, right? So if I just draw a line to there, see this low here? Once we lose it and find resistance, let's fucking go. Especially the confirmation, right? For me, really, the confirmation and the safer bet is that we lose the weekly low, right? Weekly range low. This is actually oops, that's not your confirmation. This will be confirmation to go a lot more lower, back down from the mid-range. I mean, because you can look at it two separate ways. You can look at it from the Monday's range, right? Or you can look at it at the weekly range, right? So, let's just do the fucking thingy, Monday's range. Let's do Monday's range. right? Then we can start talking about what we can see. So when we start losing this area here, right, this low, this is now confirmation to go play it back to 25% of the range. Target 1. See how we react on this area. See this all this fin movement over here. I'd like to see us fill out all this area here, back down. That'll be the next set of targets. Back to Monday's low. Hit the profits there. Happy days. Off we go. All right. And all we've done is gone from low to high, high to low. That's all we've done. Okay, makes sense. That's the bearish play after Monday's range. Week now, the expansive move, right? You know the fucking beautiful move that you're with that spanking move that everyone wants to do, wants to get into, right? Is if this, right? Let's go on the 1 hour. So talking about shorts, right? If this is a range bound environment, right? High, low, and we're losing this range itself, right? And we're gonna start breaking down. This looks so far looks like a deviation of the range. If it holds, off we go. But if we get back down below this this low, you gotta start asking yourself, well, if we're not bullish back in the range, right? This was just a deviation of this SR. What's so important about this this low there? Well, you can see this low here causes a deviation, finds a deviation above it, resistance, 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 resistance. We get back above it, we find some support. So this is clear that it's an SR, that 19.6k level. The moment we lose it, so if we do something like this, the moment we lose it, right, especially get below the weekly open, that's your confirmation. Off we go, and we can start targeting these lows here, this consolidation over here. So this consolidation I've got, let's just draw a fucking rectangle. Oops, that's the highlighter. What the fuck am I doing? It's about here to there. That's it. That'll be the thingy. That'll be the target there. See how we react. If we hold above it, we can actually retest Monday's low and then break down, and then that'll be another whatever. If he does this, for example, breaks down, comes back up, comes into Monday's low, does a little deviation, breaks down. See this low here, break down here. This is my compounding opportunity. My stops above here, right, above the deviation. Let's take out the lows of this and take out the lows at 17.5k. Shank this down, shank this back down, and then we'll see what happens from there. That's the bearish play, and we'll see what happens. I'm in my shorts already that I took. I'll be looking to compound whenever it's possible, but this, for me to compound further, is my confirmation to go a lot more lower on an expansive move, right? So we'll see what happens, right? That's BTC, and let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum doesn't look fucking good still, right? You know why? Let's show it. Again, you can see this 200 weekly EMA, right, which we discussed on the last show. I mean, on the last episode, deviation above it, got below it. Do we come back and retest it and go a lot more lower? We don't fucking know. There's a few things here we can just get rid of as well. Get rid of that. Play open, we keep that, and all this. Yeah, cool. And then we get rid of this. We don't need this. We don't need that. We definitely don't need that just now. And okay, cool. So let's make it nice and clean, a lot more simpler, and we can see what's going on. Right, so Ethereum is still in the weekly range, right? So this again, same principle on BTC. The last 2 weeks low, the last 2 weeks high, and you can see how price has been behaving. Cancel this motherfucker. Price has behaved high, mid to low, low to high, back down, and back up to mid, right? So question is, yo motherfuckers, have you seen that? Did you guys just clock that? Dude, this okay, I don't think anyone saw this. Right, let me show you, let me show you. Let's do it again, okay, watch this. No, you know what? Watch this. Should I go up higher? Yeah, let's do it here. Alright, watch this, right? You ready? Okay, so price 2 weeks ago, this is the range, right? We made the low to mid, mid to high. Sorry, start again. I'm gonna be happy there. Low to mid, mid to low, low to high, high to low, low to mid. What's next? Now, if I do this, let me show you something, right? This is pretty fucking spectacular there, right? Let me show you this, right? If I just bring this up there, does that not look like a left shoulder, a head, and this could be the right shoulder to go fucking nuke down back to zero? Well, not to zero, but does that not look like it? And all this is the support. That's the neckline. Lose the neckline, retest it, off we go. Potentially. So if you bring this back onto this, right, this area here, let's bring it back up there. What it's telling me, right, because obviously we're finding resistance on the mid range of the weekly, because this is a deviation, resistance, smash above it, comes support, comes back into support, deviates it, sell off, come back into it, resistance. So this area here, this 11.6k is actually quite a key area here. And then we've got the Monday's range, we'll discuss about it as well. So what we could do is something like this. Let me show you this. Come back down, bounce off this, retest this motherfucker here, sell off to 750. Why the fuck not? You know what I'm saying? You know do you know how fucking sick that is? Let me move this motherfucker out there. The fuck is going on here? Cool. You know? I think it's a fucking gangster move, motherfuckers out there. So we'll see what happens, innit? We'll see what happens. Right? So that's that's a very bearish play to look at for as well. But let's have a look for bullish plays, because I might be wrong, you know. Dainks gets it wrong from time to time. Happens. You know, trading is just a probability. It's an idea. Same time, we just gotta look for ideas, right? So if the idea is wrong, it's wrong. But what we do, we look for both sides of the market, because we're day trading. That's the key bit. Day trading, you need to look for both sides of the market. Bullish plays, bearish plays, doesn't matter. If you're swing playing, you've got your bias. If you're day trading and you're scalp playing, you're just playing whatever the fucking lines are showing, right? Shout out to fucking my 986 subscriber. Actually, you guys can see at the bottom below here. What's the name? Grenoy. Thank you for actually being the last subscriber as well. I really appreciate that as well. Hope you guys actually get a lot of things to actually learn from. Not too far. 14 followers from 1,000. So alhamdulillah, has been growing. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I do this every day, Monday to Friday. Not every day, not 7 days a week. I do this Monday to Friday around 10:15. Sometimes a bit of delay in terms of timing because of commitments, X, Y, and Z. And yeah, you know how it goes. So that's Monday to Friday. Then Sunday, what I do is the weekly outlook. Now the weekly outlook, what I do is on 6 o'clock UK time, around that time, and I just look at what the market's saying. You know, this is the weekly aspect, and just to get prepared for Monday, right? Because we have to prepare ourselves for Monday. Why? Why it's so important? Because then once you do the preparation, like trading is literally, I'd say 90% is preparation. 5% is entry, 5% is your stop loss and you're taking profits. No, 5% is entry and stop loss, the other 5% is taking profits. So that's that. So let's look for the bullish play. The bullish play, right? For me to be bullish, right? So you see the Monday's high? Monday's high, let it do its thing if it wants to come back to the mid-range, right? If it holds mid-range, right? Then I'd be like, alright, cool. If it does this, holds mid-range, then I can say back to Monday's range, Monday's range, because we got this here and this bit here. So let's talk about this, right? What is this? This is an area of consolidation, right? See how price was choppy in this area? So price consolidated, and again, like I discussed on BTC, is that we could actually have, so this is an area of consolidation. This is the consolidation, sorry. This is the breakout. We have the retest, and we could have the expansion, right? So playing it level to level will be like this, alright? So let's narrow it down. Let's go on 15 minutes and work it level to level, and you guys can see something and maybe learn a thing or two, okay? So my Monday's high is actually not there. It's about here. That's where the Monday's high is. You see what I see? What I meant? Tuesday took out the high of Monday, which to me tells me it's taking out the high on Monday. It's looking for an expansive move down, right? It really did, because if we was to be bullish, once we take out Monday's high, we should have found support off Monday's high. Find support off this area here, for example. Do this, off we go. This is my trigger. Long it, next level to the next level, off we go. Right? I'm gonna leave this here because this will actually put in place in just a moment in terms of actually having a bullish scenario. So, like I said, let it do its thing. Right? This could be, so this here is area consolidation, breakout. We could have the retest and look for an expansion. So we know already, if you want to play the confirmation play of more of expansive play, it's this area here. This is what we need to actually see for us to go higher. And the target 1 will be 1220, target 2 is 1280. Then from there, we'll take out the high, and then we'll see, do we actually hold above it and break up higher, and let's go for the continuation plan. All right, and then targets will be then, let's have a look. I'd say this high over here, which is about 1340, looking to go to about 1440. Then that's it. That's the expansive play. We'll see what happens there. This area here, what's so important is the previous all-time high back in 2017 and 2018. Make sense? That's the bullish play. The pullback scenario is this, right? So now we know what's going on, right? The pullback scenario is that we're finding resistance, right? Well, we're finding resistance off the middle, of the 75% of the range. Okay, let me just bring this back up, make this nice and neat so you guys can see. Everyone seeing? I'm talking as if it's live stream. I do enjoy actually doing live stream. This is very different. It's like I'm talking to a fucking. I'm alone out here. It feels like I'm alone. Cigarette and Coke, probably the best combination ever. Alright, so yeah, let's go. Pullback scenario. For us to actually play the scenario that we already planned out. It's this, alright? So, you can see 75% is actually causing some sort of resistance, right? Already, just right there, resistance, resistance, resistance will break up, find support, support, come back down, and then which means, if we come back down here, right, let it do its thing, whatever it wants to do. If we dip back into there, remember I talked about consolidation, breakout, and this is the retest. Let it come back now. We need to make sure we hold the mid-range. It can dip into this area here, whatever, do its thing, whatever. The moment we step back into this, right, and hold the mid-range, shows bullish market structure, up we go, target 1, I'd say target 2 up here, and then we see we get to target 3, okay? And that's it. And then my entry is here, my stop loss is here, because it was the deviation of the range low. Because if we get down below here, we shouldn't be coming down below here. If we do, maybe a quick play and come back up. But if we start breaking down, cut the trade, because now we're playing back into the original range that we had, which we've been consolidating for fucking 4 days, right? Then we can say mid range back there, blah blah. That's the bearish play. But this is a pullback scenario to go back to here to range high to play back to this range high of the quarterly if this sets up, to play the next setup, which would be over here. So I've given you 3 setups of expansive play. I've given you confirmation, I've given you pullback scenarios for bearish plays. Everyone understands? Hopefully you guys do, and no one's fucking about here. Okay, cool. So that's the bullish play. Bearish play. No one likes to be over bear, but we gotta look at the macro scale, because macroly, right, it's this, right? We can argue that that's the high, that's the lower low, that's a lower high, that's a lower low. We can say that's a lower low, a lower high, and then we now made a new low. That's a higher low, and then we've broken market structure there, which is why I'm saying its potential is bullish, right? As long as we hold this area here, we can't lose this. We can't lose Monday's low, because if we lose Monday's low, what this means then is that the premise of this here is wrong, right? Because that won't be the lower high. What that is actually this is the lower low, and that's the lower lower high, and then make the lower low. Because remember the head and shoulders I showed you, which is very possible. That's very, very bearish. It's a bearish play. I'll just fucking Google it for you to you. So if we type in head and shoulders, fucking I can't even type. Shoulder, knees and toes, pattern. Let's have a look. If we go to images, and you can see, for example, like this over here. Let me just move this to the side. There, you can see it's bearish plays, right? It's all really quite bearish there. Let's get another one. Here's another one. Shoulders, heads, shoulders, break down below the neckline, and that's it. It's a sell-off. Let's do another one. Yeah, you can see, let it do its thing. There's the shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, breaks the neckline, and whatever. Well, this one shows that the height from the head to the neckline. That in the equal move will be your target. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. If this is an idea, right? But let's just do that, right? Let's see if this actually does a thing, okay? Let's bring that back to normal. Let's go back to Ethereum, and let's have a look, right? So this area here, the movement, right, from there to there is literally, you know what? Fuck it. that the movement is this. So if I draw a thick ass motherfucking line, right? Trend line this shit. Right, from there, and this will be now be my, because that's the neckline. The neckline to me is this area here, okay? Is the range low. If I copy and paste this motherfucker, let's see what happens. Right? Where is my potential target? Wow, we're not too far from here. We're going to expand to the, definitely we're nuking over here then, if that's the case. If that pattern was right, is that we're going to do something like this. Let me show you. Put a brush. So this is my shoulders. This is my head. This is my shoulders. This is my this is my shoulders. Then we can start nuking down all the way down here. Right, which is not too far from the target. I was saying 750. Very, very plausible. It can happen. And if I put this thicker so you guys can see, why not? Why not? We get a retest. Probably if we lose this low here, we're looking for the retest of 998 around that area, that low, or probably a 1K area, the 1K 1010, playing it down to this level, going down, blah blah blah. So so now we have an understanding of what's potential move. Potentially could happen. Let's start making a plan for bearishness. All right, cool. So the bearishness is this now. I'm gonna let it do its thing, right? The reason why is that for me, we could have a pullback. I mean, I can play this play as a scalp play, but let's just make more of a, because you could do this, right, and then break down, right? But I'm just gonna play a bit more careful and see what's happening, right? I'm looking for confirmation how to milk the move whenever's possible. Okay. So we got Monday's range. I'm going to focus on Monday's range. I'm going to play it level to level, right? So the Monday's range is this, right? Can everyone see the blue line? I'm just going to delete this for a second so you guys can just focus on what is going on here, right? What's this line here? This is fucking purple line for. Oh yeah, that's 75% range of this whole range. Yeah, this is the previous range that we were playing. Can you guys see it? And 75% of the range is where we is that purple line, and then the mid range is where the targets I'm looking for, which is that the liquidity. That's liquidity. Mid range is what the fuck, 760. All right, so let's go for 760 targets, right? And we'll see what happens. Okay, so back to 1 hour. Oh fuck it, let's go back to 15 minutes, and we'll make our plan. All right. So the plan is this. Playing on Monday's range, just focus on this, right? Let it do its thing, right? So if I was going to be bearish now, because I have my invalidation, which is above here, stop loss above here. If we were to be bullish, right, we can hold above it, and maybe we could come back down and then break down or whatever. Or the moment it gets back above here, to me, we're going to take out these highs here, which comes back into the bearish play for us, the confirmation to play the longer plays, okay? Everyone understands that? So now I have my invalidation above Monday's high. We've taken that on Tuesday. To me, that's and we step back into the range. You gotta ask yourself, your right butt cheeks, what the tattoo says. What the fuck you doing back in the range? Same principle, right? So if you're back in the range, you're gonna play from high to mid to low, right? Everyone understand that? So before we actually carry on, what is the fucking weekly open? Actually, that's a very good point. Let me mark this out. I marked it out on the fucking BTC chart, but not on here. Weekly open is this. It's just above the monthly open actually. Let's go to the 15 minutes now, and let's just neaten all this. Weekly open is actually 75% of the range. Doesn't really matter, right? I think the most key is the monthly open, because the weekly open is here. We're playing level to level, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so right, we can come back up and have a deeper pullback back into this low here, right? Because this is an area of distribution. Price was distributing here. Manipulation was happening. We did the range, right? So distribution happened over. Fuck off. Happened over here, right? In this area here. So let it do its thing. Step back in. Once it breaks down, right? Breaks down, finds resistance. Then I say, yeah, my invalidation. I can tighten my invalidation, but I can have a hard stop up here. My invalidation can be here. So my stop loss can be there, but really my invalidation is still going to be a Monday's high, targeting back to Monday's mid range, right? And that's a quick trade there. Then we see, if you don't want to take the trade there, if you don't want to take the deeper pullback and see that trade there, no problem. Or if we lose this level here, we can just go straight down here. That's the same. Let me do this a bit more cleaner. We can just do this off the slow here, and then there we go. That's the same target there. But if you want to be like, you know what, Dank, I want to be a bit more safe. I don't want to risk anything, blah, blah, X, Y, and Z. What do? Well, you see this, right? We've got the mid-range. The fuck? Yeah, we've got the mid-range, and we've also got this level here. That's the 75% of the macro range. So we're focusing on the mid-range there. The moment we step down below it, final resistance, breaks down over here, this is now being your next target here. I'd say target 1 at 75%. Look at how we look at the monthly open. If we start holding above the monthly open and start showing bullish market structure and start doing like this, then I'll be like, you know what, cut the trade, because cut the trade over here, because we're gonna go a lot more higher. We could go a pullback on the mid range, but we can always get back in to actually, if we actually, you know, break down, do something similar to this, okay? But let's see how the monthly open it works, because if the monthly open holds a support, to me, what that is this, that this was all chop, right? This is all chop there. We made the low of the month. It's retested the monthly open. If we're above the monthly open, hold above it is bullish, right? Because then you can say we go back to here, and if we reclaim the mid range and play it back up, we play level to level. But in terms of bearishness, for continuation of bearishness, if this is going to be the high of the fucking month, then, like for example, at the moment, this is how it looks like. If we get down to the monthly open, it'll be like this. That's the body of the candle. That's the fat ass wick. Let's go down. Oops. Let's go down and let's make the body of the candle way further below. That's what we're looking for, and that's now a bearish candle, okay, for the monthly. So, and go back to part one. Part one, we talked about it briefly. I'm not gonna do this again, but then we see what happens. If you start breaking down below the monthly open, this here is your confirmation if you want to play, right? I mean, we're going back to target the next set of target, which is Monday's low. We'll see what happens. But once we get the monthly open, you now know you have an invalidation of the high of the month to go a lot more lower to play the expansive move. That's one. Okay. Once we lose the Monday's low and do something like that, let's go a lot more lower. Okay. So now let's just bring all this up and bring another thing in. What was that thing I was going to bring in? The weekly open, the weekly play. Let's have a look. Let me just remove all this shit and try and find the weekly. I know, because I did draw it. You were there when I drew it, right? There we go. There, something like that. So that's that. Now, if you want greater confirmation, right? Confirmation for a monthly play will be below the monthly open, which we discussed about. But if you want greater confirmation of how to play the range, how to play the breakout the range. Well, if price gets down back here, right? Let me just. Yeah, that's fine. If price comes down to weekly low, then as long as we hold above it, it's bullish, right? So we can do something like this, right? We can hold above it, break above, get above the monthly open, and let's go up higher. Target 1, target 2, right? Playing it level to level on the weekly range. But we're talking about bearish play. We already discussed about bullish, we're talking about bearish. So if we start losing this low here, finding resistance, to me, that's my confirmation to play target 1, target 2 off this blue box here, going for these liquidities over here. You won't be able to see the liquidity. Let me show it to you. Can you see that there? This low here. The low is because at 879. There's liquidity resting here. Take out this stop loss. Take out the low over here. We find resistance. That's another compounding opportunity. Take out down this low, and that's the low there. And then if things gets even more uglier, right? Let me just delete all this shit. If things get even more uglier, then the bars open up for a lot more worse. Why? Because we're below the 75% range, below the range high, which is over here. We discussed about. We're playing within this area here. This area here, from the high to mid, and all we're doing is something like this. What could happen is like that, break down, come down here, do its thing, break down, and then let's go back to here, the 760, and that's the expansive play. So doesn't look too clean, you know, because we do have this, and then we can come back here. I'll show you. I think the equal measure move, right, was around probably about 840, 850, around that area. You can measure for yourself and then check it out. But it doesn't look too good, right? So that's the bearish play in terms of Ethereum. I am not in an Ethereum short. I am just in the BTC short, but I would like to get on both of them. So looking at ETHBTC, what's going on? Let's have a look. Alright, move that, all done, cool. So let's just do it. What is going on, right? So we're finding a bit of chop here, right? So really, I mean, this is a range-bound environment right here. Let's just do that. Does make sense there. You can see, right? I've got the weekly open, we've got the monthly open, we've got a trend line over here. We're finding resistance here once, resistance once, well in a way, resistance twice. Got a bit of chop there, and if it holds above this area here, gets above, then let's play, because this is now really, to me, I'll be honest with you, to me this is what it is. Let me just zoom into that once again. Alright, and I'm just going to change this to black because there's too many oranges. Right, to me, right, this is distribution. Where the stop run off this high here, once, twice, again, deviates above it and break below. Okay, let's make it a bit more neater so you guys can see. Let me draw the line, nice and professional and clean. Have that, and then we have this low here. Can you see that? Can you see that? We'll step back into the range, and approximately that 25% is the mid-range. That is the mid-range. So what could happen is, so we got resistance, deviation, resistance, deviation, sell off, right? And it's sold off, and then once it's sold off, it comes back down, finds resistance, and off it goes, right? Cool. Everyone understand that? And we bounce off this low, off this consolidation over here, and we come back up, right? So all this is really, if you look at it, that's the consolidation. This is the breakout. This is the retest, and we're having a deeper pullback. If we reclaim this mid-range here, this 0.25%, then I'd be like, alright, then we're going to go a lot more higher, which means Ethereum and BTC is going to be a bit more bullish as well. Ethereum's leading the way for more of a higher play, then I'd be like, alright, well, let's go up. But, if you want more confirmation, watch how this trend line is, let it break down, final retest, break down here, off we go, weekly open, then we see we go down level to level, especially once we lose this mid-range over here, this mid-range, then, because look, we got resistance, I mean, we got a fast fin move there, resistance over here, deviation, comes to support, off we go. Then ideally, we like to retest this at the minimum, right? Right, makes sense. Then, what happens is, if we lose this area here, find confirmation, let me just, too many circles there, find confirmation, this is your confirmation to go back down to 75% of the range, looking to retag the monthly open, and then what that is, this is the wick of the month, and then let's fucking make the body shank it down to lower lows, taking out these liquidities and go a lot more lower. And then, especially once we lose this low here, right? So if you want ultimate confirmation, because this is a bit of a range bound environment there. If you want ultimate confirmation, the moment we lose this area here, right, breakdown, that's your confirmation, because we're not only we're below the weekly open, not only we believe, not only we're below, speaking too much shit here, what the fuck? I don't have Tourette's, but I act like I got Tourette's, man. I don't know, I've never been checked. I definitely had ADHD when I was young, 100%. I was never diagnosed. Oh, that's a mad story. So what happened was, I'm going to have to sidetrack here. So it's a pre-recorded one, so I can sidetrack as much as I want. But what happened was in the ADHD thing. So at school, I was showing symptoms of ADHD, so school was quite concerned, and they made a massive report to my dad. I remember there was a thick ass, like this thick paperwork and whatever. I sent it to my dad, and my dad read it, and he was like, "What the fuck? Like my son, like is he mad or some shit?" He didn't know what ADHD is, isn't it? So migraines all calmed down. Actually, I can get this off. So he started thinking it, so that he's like, obviously, recommended by the school to go to see a doctor, blah blah. We go see the doctor. I will never forget him, Dr. Al Khazoun, in it. It was a Palestinian brother, old man. He was a gangster motherfucker, right? My man, like, so we go in, and I remember this really well. I was about 8 years old. He goes to my dad. He goes, "So what can we do, Mr. I'm not gonna say my surname. Shit." He goes, "What can we do?" And then my dad's like, "Yeah, I've got this paperwork, blah blah, this and that, and this is what school is saying, and I don't know what ADHD is. Like, does that mean that my son's mad or something like that?" And then he goes, "Give me a second." Takes up the paperwork, reads the first page, and he goes, "This is a bag of shit." He literally said, "This is a bag of shit." He goes, "Look, we got two things we can do." He goes, he looks at me, he's like, "Son," he goes, "do you feel like impulses and stuff like that, X, Y, and Z?" right? Like, do you feel? He goes, like, do you feel like you're mad? He goes, do you feel like you're mad? That was something along the lines. I can't remember it. I was 8 years old. He goes, do you feel like you're mad? I go, no, I don't think so, innit? He's like, look, right, if you're saying that you're not mad then, innit? So carry on, let's carry on. And then my dad's like, but what about this, X, Y, and Z? And then the fucking doctor goes to fucking my dad. This is how it was in the 90s, isn't it? It was easy, chilled out, man. Doctor goes to my dad. It's like, look, he goes, if we put this on his paperwork, right, this will follow him for the rest of life. We can never remove this off at all. And my dad's like, no, we don't want it. He's not mad, he's fine. Listen. And then the doctor's like, you spoke to tell the school you spoke to the doctor and everything's all fine, blah, blah, we'll look after him. And that was it. Never been diagnosed. And like going into healthcare and whatever, when I look at some of the things I did, I'm like, I definitely had ADHD. But the thing is, right, which showed to me I had control, like I was able to control it like at a certain age and stuff like that. But like I still have little symptoms, right? Like little things that happens and yeah. But that's the side story. Let's get back to fucking work because I've got to bounce in a bit as well. So yeah, and if we lose this level, off we go. So that's the trade actually. That's ETHBTC really. Looking at, actually let's fucking look at dollar index. Pushing up, motherfucker. Off we go. Made new all-time high. What's going on here? Oh yeah, that's it. Cool. There we go. Make a new all-time high. Let's fucking go. And I bet you ES is bearish now. ES is fucking bearish. I bet you that. Right, so where am I? Fuck this email. Motherfucking shit. So where would I be looking to go on? Whoa. First, let's just have a look. I mean, at a minimum, if I put a horizontal rate, I'd like to see this. That's to me is an area. How far are we? Let's have a look. Ah, we're not too far. So 106, 109.257, 109, sorry, 106.957 to 106.276. I mean, we can reclaim that, and then we see we go for these highs, this high here, and then we'll see if we can go for this high here, around this high here. Oh, 1 second, battery. Ah, oh, fuck's sake. Alright, we're back. Sorry about that. So yeah, so what I did is I got this low here, this high here, this low over here, and we'll see how we react to each level. So do we reclaim it and go up? Take out these highs, reclaim it and go up, and at any moment, if we do something like break down, and then we'll see what happens. Come back down lower, and yeah, we'll see. But dollar index is bullish. I did say on the last stream, I believe, on the weekend, the Dainks corner, someone was trying to tell me that like dollar's bearish, and I was saying, nah, I don't think so. Macro was telling me that it's a lot more, going to be a lot more higher, which is fine. I mean, if we get it wrong, I get it wrong. If I was wrong, I was wrong. You know, nothing wrong with it. So yeah, that's dollar index. Let's have a look at ES quickly, and then I'm going to call it a day. So the S&P. Let's have a look on the week. On the hourly. Here we go. So just to give you some context, a bit of quick background on it. What I've got here, as you guys can see these ranges of here. This range is 2021's low, 2021's high. We took this. Do you remember that? Here's an example. Remember that Ethereum, the Ethereum thing that happened? Ethereum on Monday made a high. Tuesday we took out the high, we got back below, and we shanked down. And we did some retests, and we shanked all the way down to mid range, bounced off the mid range, go all the way down to range low. It's the same thing, same principle, same principle. So that's a learning curve for you guys anyway. But anyway, let's have a look what's going on. So we got this black range here. What is this black range? This is basically from the 25% of the range to range low. I just did another range. So to me, the midpoint between this here, right? So from this here to this is literally this area here, right? So 37.95 is the mid range, right? At the same time, we've also got a trend line that I drew, right? So this trend line is quite important, right? You can see it's holding support on a market structure, and as long as we hold above it, right, we can go back up and whatever and play this, and then we see we can play up there, and then we go to this low, and then take out this high, and then take out, you know, it's the same story. It's the same story. I've done it before. Nothing changes, right? So, but okay, let me be nice about it. Okay, if we hold above it, right, cool. That'll be one. This, then we come to here, see how we react up here, and then that'll be the next target. So target 1, target 2, target 3. That's ES. Break about it, right? So we break above it. So we got this here, this low here. Let me draw that out. So this low here, right, and then the break above it will be, that's your trigger. Hold it. That's your next set of targets there. Target 1. Then we have this. Then we have this high there. And you see this line here? That's approximately the midpoint, and all we can do is literally play it level to level. So this is your next target. That's target 2, and then that'll be target 3. See how we get to mid range. That's the bullish play for ES. But then when it comes to the bearish play, is how do we play the bearish scenario? It's literally this. No, cursor. This. I'll remove all this shit here. Now, if I want to be bearish, is all I gotta do is come back, retest this breakdown, find resistance in the mid range. This is my confirmation to go back to range low. Here we go, and then once we lose this area here, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go, and let's nuke the fuck out of it. All right, and that's, and if ES is going to go down, trust me, Bitcoin, Ethereum, your fucking old bags, everything's going down. All right, so play it level to level. That's the plan, and that's how it is. Any questions? No questions. Cool, we're all good. Everyone understands. So I expect you guys to make a couple of hours in thingy today, inshallah. Yeah. All right. I have got to go. I'm gonna blow this now and catch you guys soon. Love. Thank you so much for actually being on the watching me talk shit really.